We start this part off with the arrival of what's left of Don Creed's fleet, being led by Jing. Krieg comes to the Baratie with every intention to take it over and make it a new vessel to re-enter the Grand Line, because his entire fleet was destroyed by one man. With the arrival of Krieg, everybody in the Baratie gets on edge, knowing who Don Krieg is, with his fleet of 5,000 men. They're shocked to only see a handful of ships, while it's said that Don Krieg has dozens of ships. What they don't know is that Krieg's entire fleet was destroyed when he entered the Grand Line. Krieg then attacks, seeing as these chefs don't want to give up their ship. That's when Luffy steps in, catching Krieg's punch and using Conqueror's Haki to disable the rest of his men instead of other than Pearl and Jing. The reason Luffy doesn't knock out Jing is because he's growing to kind of like Jing. The battle between Don Krieg and Luffy begins, with Luffy with one hit shattering the shoulder piece of Don Krieg's armor when he tries to use his machine gun, and actually crushing his spear with one hand when he tries to bring it down on Luffy, where it explodes, but it has no effect whatsoever on Luffy. Luffy then punches Don Krieg in the chest, shattering his armor. Don Krieg doesn't understand because there's not supposed to be anybody this strong inside the East Blue. He believed that he was the strongest person inside the East Blue, other than Arlong, who has a larger bounty than him. The battle continues, with Krieg doing everything he can to stay upright, with Luffy's barrage cracking and crushing his armor, before Don Krieg finally falls. This happens much earlier than inside the original, because Luffy's way stronger. He's not really threatened by Don Krieg whatsoever, and just kind of beats the dog shit out of him. And then a single one-man raft starts floating through the water, cutting the last ship in half. While the members of the Baratie don't know what's going on, the Krieg pirates fall pale when they realize who this man is, remembering what he did to the rest of their fleet. Mihawk stands on land. Zoro, knowing who this man is, goes to try and take his place for the number one swordsman in the world. Everything goes as same as the original. Zoro's destroyed, and still having that entire moment where he says the scars on the swordsman's back is a mark of shame. However, Luffy goes to fight Mihawk after this. When him and Mihawk clash, there's a burst of Haki sent throughout the entire East Blue. With this clash, the Baratie and all the other ships start moving, even if they're anchored. Mihawk is actually kind of surprised, because the East Blue is said to be one of the weakest blues, but a man this strong exists there. but he's still no threat to Mihawk as he is right now. Because this Luffy, he's only around Vice Admiral level. And I'm not talking about like the crazy strong Vice Admirals like Garp, who's stated to be at Admiral level or above, but Garp actually rejected his promotion to the Admiral level because he doesn't want to be the dogs of the Celestial Dragons. So, the fight continues with Mihawk just kind of reveling in this. He's not going his hardest, but someone's able to dodge his strikes and even block some of them when he's not going serious. During this fight, Luffy realizing that he's being completely he's being completely destroyed, not able to hold a candle to Mihawk. He realizes that he realizes the weight that the Warlords of the Sea holds when he's not even able to scratch this man. But this man has easily laid deep cuts on his skin. This is when Luffy gets his first glimpse into future sight, just for a moment. Instead of 5 seconds in the future, it's only half a second. But Luffy realizes this. This half second into the future, he's actually able to graze Mihawk with one of his attacks. Throughout this entire bout, Luffy's evolving his future sight. Realizing this, he remembers what Garp told him, that Haki, the only way Haki can really be evolved is through combat. Luffy revels in this, even though he stands no chance. It's been a long time since anyone other than his grandpa could keep up with any of his attacks. Luffy uses attack after attack, again and again, but he still can't close the gap, even with future sight. With Mihawk being serious, even if Luffy can see the attack coming, he can't react to it. And he ends up getting cut down by Mihawk, covered in blood. Mihawk actually asks for Luffy's name too. That's when he states that his name is Monkey D. Luffy. Mihawk's eyes widen at this, and he smiles, saying that, "Shanks, you found a good successor." And he walks away while Luffy passes out from his injuries. Nami steals the ship at this point, while Luffy and Zoro and Sanji, who just entered the crew, are treated for their injuries, with Jing actually going to float because of his poison. And it's not even clear if Jing died. You could state that Jing died, but Oda, that's kind of ambiguous for Oda, because like most of the time when someone like disappears like that, there's a good chance they're not dead, but I don't feel like Oda would bring Jing back. I would hope he would, but anyway, Jing goes to float inside the sea, and presumably, I can't even speak. Presumably, whatever, dies. After Luffy and Zoro are treated for their injuries, and they're told that Nami's gone, they actually chase after Nami into Going Merry, who's taken the Going Merry. Luffy sees this. He's not as naive inside the original, where he's not sure if Nami will betray them. But in this one, he thinks that Nami has betrayed them a bit, but he doesn't really see this as betrayal, because in the end, in Nami's words, they were nothing but a partnership. So he heads to Arlong Park. With his arrival at Arlong Park, this injured Luffy can barely stand, along with Zoro, who's heavily injured as well, and Sanji, who's kind of banged up too. The only person in peak condition is Usopp, which is basically like a normal person at this point. Luffy, after just fighting Mihawk, he doesn't want any of this. He doesn't care about the fishmen or anything like that. I'm gonna say that Luffy still fakes. I'm gonna say that Nami still fake kills Usopp. With Usopp's arrival and telling Luffy and the others what Nami did, Luffy begins to understand. And that's when he goes to confront a crying Nami, who's stabbing at her arm. He still gives her a straw hat, tells her to protect it. That's when he goes to meet Hawkeye. Not Hawkeye, Arlong. And I'm gonna say that he takes on all the fishermen pirates because he thinks that Zoro's too injured to even stand a chance against these guys after seeing some of their attacks. Luffy easily destroys the remaining fishermen pirates with none of the crew getting any fights. That's when Luffy sets his sights on Arlong, who's laughing, calling Luffy a piece of shit human, or something along those lines. Luffy doesn't say a word. He just asks, "Are you Arlong?" When Arlong says yes, Luffy blitzes him, punching him in the stomach, making Arlong cough up blood. Arlong's kind of worried because he couldn't see this attack. That's when he retreats to grab his blade and comes back down with anger in his eyes. He swings the blade at Luffy, which Luffy easily dodges. And Arlong continues to swing the blade. With every swing of the blade, Luffy gives a counter attack, slowly whittling down on Arlong. Luffy could end the fight quickly, but he wants Arlong to feel pain, the same pain that he enacted on Nami. So with every slash, Luffy delivers a punch or a kick into Arlong's ribs or face, cracking them, dislocating his arm to the point where he can't even lift his blade anymore. But this doesn't deter Arlong at all. Arlong still attacks, not letting his resolve of fishermen being better than humans be broken just because he's near death's door. Arlong lunges at Luffy, with Luffy breaking his nose with a hard kick to the face, and actually throwing Arlong into the air above Arlong Park, jumping up after him and hitting him with a spear, a Gomu no spear covered in Haki, crushing Arlong Park, leaving Arlong there, beaten and bloody. I'm gonna leave this part off now, right here, with the defeat of Arlong, and then we're gonna go into the Grand Line in the next part. And I know some of you are pretty excited to see the clash between Luffy and Smoker, as well as Dragon.